get into that watchtower, I definitely need it.
How are we supposed to do that?
Well, supposedly these bald bodies find you attractive, so maybe you can work out some sort of trade.
You must be joking.
No, I really heard they find you attractive.
I must watch this film. What do you think, Comic Cat?
What a bunch of a-holes.
Hooked on a feeling, I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Ronan the Accuser of the Kree Empire has decided to break away from his people when they have declared peace with the Nova Corps homeworld of Xandar. Vowing revenge against Xandar for crimes against the Kree, he has aligned himself with the mad titan Thanos. Thanos demands Ronan deliver a mysterious orb in return for his support, one that winds up in the hands of the human Peter Quill, who as a child was abducted into space by a group of space bandits known as the Ravagers. Peter, who prefers to go by Star-Lord, has to form an uneasy alliance with bounty hunters Rocket and Groot, the vengeance-mad Drax the Destroyer, and even Thanos' daughter and assassin, Gamora, in order to keep the orb away from Ronan and keep the galaxy safe. So, yeah, if you were to ask me circa 2008 what film would be the first non-directly Avengers-related property to come out of Marvel Studios, I wouldn't have said Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, no big name characters, no one who will go on to be in the Avengers, and oh yeah, the talking tree and raccoon. It's certainly an odd choice, but probably less so once you get past the surface. For one thing, Marvel couldn't keep doing pure superhero films and expect people to get excited. Don't get me wrong, I want my Captain Marvel film, I want my Black Panther movie, but it makes sense to diversify their brand to do something that's less spandexy. And Guardians is a solid choice. It's following the critically loved cult comic series of the same name by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. Plus it establishes the cosmic side of Marvel, which is a necessary step if Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet are to happen in Avengers 3, which seems where current speculation is pointing to. But really, is it that weird? I mean, sure, Groot and Rocket stand out, but if George Lucas had to sell his movie about the 7-foot dog monster and the chirping tin wastebasket, you might call him crazy too. And yeah, the film is far more in the vein of Star Wars than it is the Avengers, despite laying groundwork for the overall Marvel cinematic continuity. Okay, now we know why it was made, but is it any good? Yes, and yes! Okay, this movie seems aimed at me, so I'll admit a lot of bias, but damn I love this. So much of this screams pure comic book movie. The weird characters, the epic plot, it's certainly the most out there film Marvel has put out so far, but for the vast majority of the film, it works. It works fantastically. It relies a lot on the humor to keep it grounded. Star-Lord is a reluctant hero in the vein of Han Solo, but with his smartassery and poorly improvised planning skills turned up to 11. Which means that a lot of the outlandish situations have Chris Pratt as Peter acting out as the exaggerated voice of the audience.
She caught me with this skinny little Oscar Varian who worked in Nova Records. I was trying to get information. Ever see an Oscar Varian? Tentacles, needles for teeth. I think I'm seriously interested in that. You don't care.
At least some of the time. That isn't to say Star-Lord or the rest of the Guardians aren't fleshed out. They all more or less grow on you and make you want to see more of them. The weakest being Dave Bautista's Drax. Bautista isn't the worst wrestler turned actor, and he has a good physical presence and an okay sense of comic timing, but the script and the delivery don't quite mesh, though never to the point of it becoming an issue. The standout is easily Rocket, voiced by Bradley Cooper. Every time Rocket is on screen, he steals the scene. While Cooper isn't quite the voice I heard in my head for the comic version, his vocals alongside an amazingly expressive CGI creation really sell the character. Zoe Saldana as Gamora has the burden of being the most sensible one of the group, but she also seems one of the most fleshed out in terms of her backstory. Vin Diesel's Groot is...
I am Groot.
Yeah, what he said. The one character who really needed more fleshing out, though, and really the only major flaw in the film, is our bad guy in Ronan. Ronan, the Accuser in the comics, is an awesome character who believes in Kree justice with all of his being. He's kind of like an alien Judge Dredd, dispensing justice wherever he goes, just not Earth justice. He's arrogant, prideful, and no fun at parties, but he is often an ally of the good guys when he's not conflicting with them for what he thinks is best for his people. but that's the comic version. Ronan in the film, played by Lee Pace, is a grandiose bad guy who wants to destroy the planet of Xandar because... reasons. I mean, there are a few dropped lines about how he's opposed to the peace because of Xandarians had spilled Kree blood, and that's reason enough to want to see their world destroyed, which I could see that working with Ronan's comic motivations, but really it's never expanded upon. Well, as a physical threat to our heroes, he's highly effective and nicely intimidating, but because his character is never given much motivation, and his comic book counterpart is so nicely complicated and fleshed out, it really does feel like a waste. Actually faring better is Karen Gillan as Nebula, another of Thanos' daughters, working as one of Ronan's lieutenants. Okay, maybe this is my bias as an unabashed fan of Gillian and her time as a Doctor Who companion, but her character seemed interesting, and while it was never dwelt on long, having a sisterly relationship with Gamora at least opens the door for more drama than anything Ronan gets to do. I hope we get to see more of her later on. But really, that complaint aside, it's a damn fine film, and I can easily see little kids seeing this as being the Star Wars of their generation. I'm honestly running out of things to say. The soundtrack is amazing, the special effects are amazing. It's a remarkably solid film. While I think on a technical level, I think Captain America the Winter Soldier was a better movie, but in terms of giving me an unabashed comic book-esque movie experience, it's hard to beat the bunch of a-holes known as the Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's what I thought of it. Comic Cat, what did you think? Comic Cat? Whoa, hey buddy! Put the blaster down! I mean, you don't even have opposable thumbs. I'm not sure what you expected to do with that.
Jerry Bob! Hello, world, I'm your wild girl. Jerry Bob! Donates.
I am Groot.